Hello, welcome to Caribbean Headline News. I'm Judy Joseph. With me is lawyer Anthony Stephen Benjamin of Benjaminlaw. Good to see you again. I want to ask you this time, let's focus on long-term disability. Let's say that a client applies for disability and was refused. You've got to work closely with the medical doctor to get all that background information, correct? How do you start with a case like that?
Well, when I talk about long-term disability, I should probably clarify there are different facets.
Yes.
If someone is injured, there are benefits available. One, there are provincial benefits, which is Ontario Disability, ODSP.
Yes.
And there are benefits available from CPP, Canada Pension Plan Disability. And there is, if the person is employed and they do have a disability benefit policy at work, which quite often a lot of employers have through private insurance carriers, they can try to access those benefits. In cases where the benefits are refused, let's say you apply to your work insurance,
yes,
or your carrier at work, and they refuse the benefits, you then come to me. I would ask for the refusal letter.
Yes. And
I would write to the insurance company and said, listen, you refuse the benefits, but we think you're wrong. My client, he or she meets the minimum requirements set out in the policy, and therefore the benefit should be paid. If it's not paid, we then commence a lawsuit, and as part of that lawsuit, we would try and get all the medical information, the documentation to support our client's need for disability benefits.
So you work closely with the doctors to get all the background information on the client.
Yeah, we do, because we need, you know, when I was in law school, unfortunately, they don't have a medical degree, so I depend on the doctors to provide the medical information to support the case.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. So what's the difference between, I know long-term disability is meaning that you're not able to work for a very long time.
Yes.
So what if the insurance company says no, that they cannot provide disability for that person?
Well, if they say no, which they often do, I mean, my job is to basically to take action and later on try to persuade a court that my client meets the definition of disability under the policy.
After you've spoken to the doctor, right?
After I've spoken to the doctors, yes.
Okay.
Because I need to show medically that my client is unable to, well, there are different tests, is unable to perform his job.
Yes.
And then would be unable to perform any occupation. For instance, you work in a factory, you operate a machine that requires bending and twisting, but you're involved in an accident somehow at home or at work, or you may have just developed an illness. Or
your back is injured.
And you have a back injury as a result. It doesn't have to be an accident for long-term disability. It could be any reason. And my job is to basically show that as a result of that injury, you can't continue doing your work. Yes. And you may not be able to do any other work as a result in the future because of your ailment or injury. Sometimes it's difficult, but most times, if we have the medical evidence to support it, we could get the benefits payable.
So do you get a lot of disability cases?
Yeah, I get a lot of disability cases, because quite often, as part of the personal injury claim system, we are required quite often and most times to try and also take the necessary proceedings against the long-term disability carriers.
I just want to ask you, continue. Sorry.
For loss of income, yes.
And your consultations are free, correct?
Yes, I do. I meet clients initially, or I talk to them on the phone and to see whether or not they in fact have a case. And I don't charge for the consultation. It's entirely free, and I always encourage people to call me. Sometimes even if they need a second opinion on some other case they may have somewhere else or some other representative.
Yes.
I'm always happy to speak to them about it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that information. Back to the studio.